10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Chaos Knight.
Dire team pick.
Winter Wyvern. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Huh. Looks like the Centaur Runner does know that he's not going to be in for a very, very lovely safe lane, so he decides to go for boots level 1, and that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I like this. Basically, what he's trying to do is that he wants to go into the lane and then just run around the lane, try and leech a little bit of experience, get a couple of levels because of that, and hopefully be fine. But the thing is, like, look at that lane. They only need to hit one stun, and then that guy is going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble. Where the Powerman Shield would at least mean that he could tank a little bit of the right-click damage, but boots of speed, you know, you can dodge for a little bit, but the second that you get close enough to be stunned by anyone, you're going to be potentially killed, because look at it. I mean, you know, CK stun, level 1, obviously it's 1 or 2 second stun. It's not a huge stun, but Impale on top of that, Shackles on top of that, that's a good 5 seconds-ish duration lockdown in the first level. So, I don't know, man. I don't know how you survive on a Centaur like that, but we'll see if they can make it work. If I was Clutch Gamers, I would probably just like opt to go for an Orb of Venom level 1 on CK and just go for that kill. Attempt to go for the kill. The next assassin obviously already has his boots available. The Shadow Shaman is going to be the more pole position support, and they just need to try and get that kill on the Centaur, at least force him away from the lane, because he does have boots, so he cannot jungle that efficiently. If he went Fire Anton, you know, it's like, okay, whatever. If he dies in the lane, he can just go into the jungle, and it might take him a little while, but he can still jungle. Whereas if you go boots level 1, your jungling potential is pretty much non-existent. Like, you don't have the Quelling Blade, you don't have any extra armor, you don't really have any good survivability, so it's not going to be a fun time. And in the meantime, let's see what is the assassin doing. the axe doing? Not have any purchase just yet. I like those bugs where you can't see how much gold they have. You're like 0 gold a second ago, you know, obviously. Axe with no gold to begin with. That would be a fun. No gold axe. Alright. Looks like we're getting ready to go, guys. Yep, indeed we are ready. Begin Sunstrike coming out. Smoke has already been used from the side of RRQ, just making sure that the enemy doesn't get to see anything. Which is a good thing. You know, you don't really want to see where people's TPing and whatnot. That's usually what you can scatter with that early Sunstrike use from the Invoker. Just, you know, if you don't use the smoke instantly, you can see the support with one ward TPing to one lane. You can see another offlane and TP the other lane, and then you have a pretty good idea of where the wards are already, as it makes it pretty obvious. But if you're smoked up, you know, you don't see anything, and then the Invoker is like, well, I know they use a smoke, but you know, what does that tell you? You know, the enemy use smoke, guys. You know, okay, whatever. Yes. So it's always a good idea. Let's see. Okay, the Centaur did decide to change his build, so I'm much more a fan of what he's doing now. Going for the pole man shield, I guess he had a little bit of a mind trick for himself, thinking about what he wanted to do. But the boots first definitely was not the best option in my opinion either, because, you know, sure, boots means that you can try to outrun the enemy team, but at some point they are going to get close enough to be in range of shooting one of their stuns out on you. So I would rather have more survivability when you get hit by the first stun to just survive the combo, rather than, you know, aiming on never being hit by anything. So let's see. Mid lane, we have the Winter Wyvern just doing his thing. He's actually moving down to the bottom lane on bo2, which I like. Because like I said in the drafting stage, Centaur is the kind of hero that needs a helping hand to begin with. He's very, very strong once he gets a couple of levels. But the first few levels is very, very difficult for Centaur to deal with right now because of all those nerfs to him. Mainly his armor, which made it pretty damn painful for him to survive. And in the top lane, we have the Axe moving in. He's going to be pressuring the safe lane of RRQ to begin with, and he's already going well in there, trying to trade hits with Kel'Thuzad, making sure he can do as much damage as possible. Rubik is not really the strongest laning here against him. He is trying his very best to just do some right-click damage against him, but he's not doing a lot, and well, that is going to be most of the creeps going to the Axe, already getting the first creep wave. In the meantime, bottom lane, the Centaur run is just keeping him at a distance, just, you know, trying to leech a little bit of experience, trying to grab a couple of stat lasses perhaps, and the Winter Wyvern is making sure that the Shadow Shaman cannot make that wraparound attempt. Bombax is now going to come into position. He does have that Impale available. Fly Solo comes in as well, but bo2's keeping himself there. He doesn't want to go for his skill point because he wants to make sure he has that Cold Embrace available in case of emergency, and looks like he will go for it now. He will go for the Cold Embrace, as that is going to be Clutch Gamers at least making sure they don't lose the hero just yet, but the Impale comes out now. That's going to be a lot of damage done onto Koala. He has to go for the Centaur Stomp as well to survive that, and Fly Solely will repeatedly do some more damage against Koala. That is a lot of work being done. Even though the Cold Embrace did keep him alive for a little while, you know, this Tralin is definitely very, very frightening to deal. Just go for solo shrine use, go right back into position. But the thing is, if you look at the mana pools of the three heroes inside of Clutch Gamers, they use almost nothing for that gank attempt, and they can do that time after time again. The next time, Gabi will have his Chaos Bolt available as well, because he's level 2, so it's going to be a little bit easier. They could even potentially try and go on bo2 if anything, so I would imagine they just pull out a little bit, pick up a couple of Boundary Runes, and then they try to go for another kill. See if they can make it work. In the meantime, Centaur, he's level 2 for now, so he's getting at least a little bit of a helping hand, but I'm not sure the trade-off is worth it, because the Axe is getting a lot of space in the top lane. He's sitting on 7 lasted, so he's pretty much at the point where he's getting free farm. He has boots available as well, so he can deal with that lifesteal quite easily. He just needs to get a little bit of tankiness, and then that lifesteal is not really going to be able to stop him from farming that much. The Rubicus will obviously trying to go around, pick up some boundary runes here and there, but the Axe is going to be off to a very, very good start, doubling the last of the Centaur already. Mid lane, we have the Shadow Fiend versus Invoker, being very even for now, but it looks like the Shadow Fiend is in a little bit of a lead in terms of how much regen has been used. They both have shrines available, and the Invoker will pop his, so Mel needs to be a little bit careful. And let's see what else. Safe laners, also very even, 16 for 13 lasses. Like they're trying to run down Koala down here in the bottom lane, but he's going to be a little bit too fast. He does have his Boots of Speed available now, so there's nothing to worry about. He can outrun them a little bit now. A little bit. Like the CK is going to go for a Midas build this game. Now they try to go for another attempt. They go for bo2, they go for the Impale. They wait a little bit. Shackles come out from Fly Solo. Will not really be able to do anything. Impale comes out as well. bo2 might be able to be taken down, but because of the early Shackle use, they will not be able to get as much damage as they wanted to, and that is be the end of the attempt. In the meantime, Bombax has to go for the Spike Carapace. He will be able to survive for a second. Might be able to turn around and go for the Impale, but no, he will be picked off. That's going to be the first blood to the side of RRQ. Clutch Gamers, they get the kill on the Winter Wyvern in the meantime with Gabi, but losing the first blood, that is going to be a very nice rotation from the Rubik, ensuring that they do not lose the first blood. And Gabi going for Midas build. Well, everyone loves having Midases nowadays, so it's not a big surprise that he wants to go for Midas. Chaos Knight, not a bad Midas hero by any means. Usually you would consider the Chaos Knight being a more of an aggressive safe lane carry, so you would usually be like, okay, he needs to go for his drums, he needs to go for his Armlet, Sanjin Yasha kind of build, but in this game, you actually have the CK being the better late game hero because you are playing against a lifestealer, so him going for Midas is completely fine in that regard. You know, you just want to scale into the late game, you want to make sure you have a lot of farm. Top lane looks like Kel'Thuzad is going to take a lot of damage at 2 spins to the face. That's going to be very painful. The Winter Wyvern is going to be up in the top lane now with that Cold Embrace to be able to help him a little bit, but the Axe, he's having a very, very good time. He will pull this creep wave and potentially try and farm. It looks like bo2 is in position to try and actually go on him. He will go on him, do a little bit of damage to him, maybe take a couple of those creeps as well, and indeed, he's not going to be able to take the creeps. He might be taken down here, and indeed, Rappy a little bit too greedy, trying to contest that creep wave, but he should have known that the lifesteal would come in and help with that kill attempt. So the Axe will be punished there. Too greedy for his own comfort. He'll pick up an Iron Teller now, and he does have his Tranquil Boots as well, so he can go into jungle and farm as fast as you can possibly imagine. He's going to be very, very well off the bat. 30 lasts, of course, so he's pretty much having a free farm lane either way. Even though he died, that is still going to be a free farm situation. In the mid lane, we have the Invoker dropping down very far behind of the Shadow Fiend because of that little time where the Shadow Fiend got some solo time, and now he's sitting on 25 souls, which makes Armel's life very, very difficult. Now the double raise comes out, triple raise. Armel takes a lot of damage. He will just go invisible though, as the Raindrops will tank most of the worst of the damage, and yeah, but he will not get a kill on him. Armel just has to play a little bit safe. He'll get some more lasts for him, and it's a slow mid start, but you know, that's life. That's life right now. Yeah. Everyone is just giving space for the Axe to have a beautiful time in the top lane. And net worth wise, we can see that the two leading heroes is the Lifesteal as well as the Shadow Fiend inside of RRQ, followed by the Axe and the CK from Clutch Gamers, and then the Invoker and the Centaurs both kind of sitting a little bit further down on the bat, why they don't want to be, but that's how it is right now. In the meantime, we have Winter Wyvern moving in, trying to go and Fly Solo, trying to do as much damage as possible to him. Fly Solo in the meantime is going to try and walk himself away, get a little bit further away, but here comes the Rubik with a Fade Bolt to the face, and Sheffer is going to get another kill on Fly Solo. Right, 3 for 1 so far, RQ. At least making sure that they try their very best to punish Clutch Gamers, and we can see the Axe in the top lane. He's not having as much fun now, as the life still does hit hard. You need to remember that this is a hard hitting hero with Face Boots, with his Blightstone as well, so in the few situations where there's not creeps around to make the spin go off a little bit more, then the Axe needs to be a little bit careful, a little bit cautious. Obviously the Tranquil Boots does not give you armor anymore, so that means that the Axe is going to be a little bit weak in terms of survivability, but movement speed is obviously going to be a lot bigger, so it's kind of a trade-off. It's not necessarily a nerf. Same thing for the Centaur. He's going to be a little bit weak in terms of armor and bottom lane. He ends up dropping down 2 Fly Soul. They tried to go for another kill here. Bogarino is going to be the target. The Shackles comes out. The Shadow Fiend makes a TV rotation. Fly Soul is going to be taken down in the place, and they might lose the CK as well. Double raid comes out from Yabu. That is going to be another one, as Bogarino will get the last hit on him. Very nice rotation from the Shadow Fiend. I like that they're rotating the Shadow Fiend so aggressively in the early game, as this hero is one of the most bursty heroes in the early game of all because of those races. So if you can make rotations with him and do that damage, then you should very much do so, as, I mean, we all know triple race, that's about 1000 damage, so you should never underestimate the Shadow Fiend's power. That is a very scary hero in those situations, so lots of damage coming out there. Looks like the Axe is rushing towards a blink, I would imagine. He could also decide to go for the Vanguard. This is one of those farming games where Vanguard would be justified because you're having a very, very good time, but at the same time, you kind of want to go for that blink blade mail build as fast as possible. Get the blink up as soon as you humanly can, and let's see, the lifesteal will go in and try to make sure that this pull does not work out. Pull back to creeps. Lane in the meantime, the Shadow Fiend is going to be jumped on. Centaur comes out on top. Yabu, a little bit in trouble, but the Centaur will simply just pop that Stampede, and that's the defensive use I was talking about in the drafting stage as well. In case of emergency, you can just go for that little use. Yabu tried to turn around and get a kill on the Nyx Assassin. Almost died for it, but he's going to be fine. You know, no worries about that. The Centaur keeping his life safe, and Krada in the meantime, he's just going to be jungling. He doesn't want to be in the lane anymore. He's going to take some more safe farm in the jungle and let the Winter Wyvern defend the bottom lane. Well, what's called the Rubik. Doesn't really matter which one it is, honestly, as both Rubik as well as Winter Wyvern is actually amazing wave clearers, so they can both sit in the bottom lane and make sure that the tower is not going to take too much damage and get a lot of levels as well at the same time. So it doesn't matter that the Centaur is going to be jungling. It's just a trade-off, you know. You get levels on your support heroes, and the Centaur at least gets a little bit of farm. Then I'll go for a smoke attempt with the Centaur as well as Winter Wyvern, but the Axe is already going to be way out of that. Back to just getting some more experience. Heal back up in the lane. They might try and make a rotation to the lane now that they see him in top lane, but looks like that's going to be a little bit too late. Bogarino's coming up there with the Centaur as well, and they want to try and make an attempt. 20 seconds to go before they have the Stampede available, but they need to make a very big wraparound to get that jump on the Axe. The Axe should know that something is going to be up because they don't really see anyone on the map right now, so something should be happening. When that's the case, you always expect something. See the Invoker trying to go for this Midas as fast as possible. He's going to be having it up very, very soon with that double null talisman build also be applied to him. Just, you know, a little bit of laning potential. Bombax picks up a haste run. He does have his Arcane boost completed now as well. And the sooner this guy gets level 6, the better. As you know, the Vendetta is probably one of the strongest spells as a support hero, because that damage output as a support hero is going to be insane. And he will even pick up the Tome of Knowledge. He will leech a little bit from this Invoker, perhaps. Just get his level 6 as fast as possible. He can move into the mid lane and leech a little bit there as well. Then get his level 6. Maybe try to make an attempt instantly to try and gank, as they just need to take a couple more creeps. Bombax is going to be ready very soon. He will have his Vendetta available now, and he can go in and try and make a gank, get him somewhere. Question is where they're going to make that attempt, because the Winter Wyvern is in position in the mid lane trying to make a wrap around himself. The Shadow Fiend is going to be spotted out, and let's see, they want to go on this guy. They hit the Vendetta, they hit the Impale. No, the Impale is going to be missed. That is not good. You cannot allow the Impale to miss. That is going to be the Invoker dropping down, but the Blink initiation comes out from Rabbi, picking up the Blink. He gets a kill on the Shadow Fiend. He gets a kill on the Winter Wyvern. So they get 2 kills off RRQ, but that could have been a lot smoother. That could have been just simply the Shadow Fiend dropping down and the Invoker surviving. Missing Impales is, you know, it's one of those things. You need to get the Vendetta hit off to do enough damage to kill the Shadow Fiend, but missing Impales, you know, it's a very difficult spell to hit in some situations, but if you miss it, it can be very punishing. Seeking the meantime on the bottom lane ends up being taken down as he was pushing the bottom lane tower, and they just made a simple rotation down here. With the support hero, with the Rubik, with the Centaur, lifted him up. The lifesteal came in as well, and they ended up dropping him down. Zeke, a little bit aggressive, trying to take down the tower, but he's not going to be able to do that. He does have that Midas complete. He's moving towards that armlet, as well as the lifesteal himself does have his own armlet complete, moving towards his Echo Saber. The Zeke is still behind after lifesteal in terms of farm at the moment, but that Midas should make him able to play the catch-up game very efficiently. And let's see the Shadow Fiend in the jungle gets jumped on by Rabbi as he makes another Blink initiation, sets up another kill on that Shadow Fiend, and with a Stun Strike follow-up, that is going to be an easy Shadow Fiend dead again. That is a lot of souls being lost, 14 souls on him right now, as dying twice, that's, you know, dying once is one thing, but dying twice is very punishing, because now the Invoker suddenly, the player who had a difficult time in the laning stage is going to be on the same amount of net worth, maybe even pull ahead of him. And, well, you know, they did get a tier 1 ton on the bottom lane as a trade-off, but that is a small trade-off, especially because the tier 1 ton on the top lane will be taken down by Gabi while this is happening. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 tower exchange, and called Clutch Gamers is going to be the only ones who got a kill. The Axe is now going to pick up most of the components for the Blade Mail. He only needs that Broadsword to be completed before he can have the Blade Mail up and running, and that is just going to give him even more solo kill potential with that Blink initiation. Now that's the Armel might be a little bit in trouble, goes for his Ghost Walk, and he will just walk himself away. They tried to make an attempt on him, but the thing is, if you don't have any detection, you're not going to be able to get any kills. That is simply how it works. They are going to ping out the fact that there's most likely going to be a ward on the cliff here, and there's a lot of vision in the bottom lane from the side of RRQ. They have 3 active observer wards in this area. This one is going to expire in a couple of seconds, but still 2 active observer wards in the enemy jungle. That's a lot of attempts to get some intel of where the Invoker is farming, where they're moving around, and I guess they kind of want to know when they're not in the jungle, because then they expect that the Axe is looking for a gank. That's a lot of commitment. In the meantime, let's see, the Lifesteal will pick up that Echo Saber very soon, just trying to pick up the farm. It's not that often anymore I see Echo Saber being built on Lifesteal. It's usually just, you know, armlet straight into Desolator, but I guess he just wants to get a little bit more early survivability, if anything. Plus, the more damage you do early on, the more damage you take from Blade Mills, so I guess maybe going Desolator is not even going to be a play this game. Maybe he just goes for like Armlet, Echo Saber into Sanjan Yasha or something like that. Because then you have a lot of tankiness and you still do reasonable amount of damage, so you don't take too much damage from the Blade Mill, and you're probably not going to be killed. That would be the way I would build Lifesteal just to survive against the Axe, because the thing is, if you go for the straight up like a Glass Cannon Lifesteal where you go Armlet, you go Deso, you go potentially like a Basher as well on top of that, you're sitting on roughly like 15, you know, maybe 2k HP, and you do insane amounts of damage every single right click. Now let's see in the mid lane, we do have Rubik a little bit in trouble. He will be pulled back. The Cold Embrace will keep him safe for now, but it is still going to be a kill as the Clutch Gamer takes grab. One Stampede comes out, the Shadow Fiend moves in, gets a kill on the Fly Solo first, gets a kill on the Axe second. As they go in with a Storm, they get the kill on them. Gabby's going to be a little bit in trouble in the backlines. He tries to move himself the other way, but he's going to be run down. Lifesteal does have a slow available in case of emergency. There's going to be a stun coming out. That's going to be a long stun, 4-second stun. Gabby needs to get himself out of there. Lifesteal still trying to run him down, but that is going to be the end of it. Yeah, but you're trying to defend the mid lane. In the meantime, he will go for the Deny Tower, and he will also take most of those Serpent wards and farm them up, so they're going to get a very good bounty trade off. In the meantime, Bombback's in the bottom back, tries to go on the Centaur. The Centaur is going to be hit on, and Bombback's with that hit, with the Vendetta, with the Sunstrike follow-up, that is going to be more than enough damage to kill that guy again.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That was also a nice initiation from the Centaur, stomping up both the Axe as well as the Shadow Shaman, stunning them up and get a kill on them. So now he's going to be able to get a little bit more net worth for him. In the meantime, bottom lane assassin gets impaled by the Rubik, and he will be picked off as they know he's hiding in there. Alright, let's take a look at the net worth here so far. CG a little bit ahead at the moment, but that can very easily change as there's not much separating the two teams. And that last fight went pretty well in favor of RQ. As the Rubik is going to be well on the way towards a plane deck, only needs 700 more gold. The Lifesteal, Echo Saber Armlet moving towards the Desolator next. The Shadow Fiend does have his Dragon Lance, and he's trying to go for Silver Edge. As you know, Silver Edge against Axe, for example, is also a very nice thing. Just to take away that counter helix. Whenever you get Blink Initiate on, you can usually react in time to get your Silver Edge off, and then at least you don't have to deal with the spins, but only the Blade Mail damage. Winter Wyvern, trying to get a 4-star for himself, you know, a position, well, actually no, that's a Soul Ring recipe. Trying to get some mana sustain so he can spam out his Splendor Blast and push out the waves. That's not a bad idea. Mid lane, Shadow Fiend gets jumped on, that's going to be the Blade Mail activating. The Shadow Fiend is a little bit in trouble, he will be dunked up, and he's going to be killed. As Rappy will get the kill. Well, Stampede comes out, and was that a Stampede in bottom lane? As the Invoker gets run down by Koala as well as the Lifesteal kill through Zard. That's going to be 1-for-1 again on the map. Both mid laners being killed. As I guess that doesn't really change too much. Both teams, they lose some heroes, and that's just going to be that. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about this game is that RRQ, it feels like, despite having a Shadow Fiend who's obviously a very great late game right clicker, I feel like they're on a timer because there's a triple Midas on the side of Clutch Gamers. They have Midas on Invoker, they have Midas on Nyx Assassin, Midas on Chaos Knight. So at some point these Midases is going to start building up into a lot of net worth going in the favor of Clutch Gamers. So yeah, sure, you have even fights right now, but that's not going to continue for that much longer. And obviously Koala moving in, but that is going to be the Axe initiating, getting a nice 3-man call off, as that is going to be the Winter One dropping down first things first. He tries to go on the Shadow Shaman first. CK might be a little bit in trouble, but the ultimate comes out from the Shadow Fiend. The CK is going to be taken down 2 dead inside of Clutch Gamers. They need to get themselves out of here. The Axe tries to survive. Blade Mill on cooldown for the next couple of seconds. He doesn't want to initiate just yet. Out of that, Battle is going to keep him away from using his blink. He might make a turnaround here if he feels greedy. Let's see if he does that. Albeit by another Battle Trench from Chef for stealing that spell. Very annoying spell to have on him, but let's see. The Axe gets himself a little bit further away. The Razors comes out. The dunk of the initiation comes out from Koala. Initiating with that stomp and trying to get himself away here. I'm not sure what he's doing, trying to go for TPI while Bombax is right next to him as he's not having a lot of HP, but he'll just haunt his way through things, and that is going to be the next assassin dropping down again. Clutch Gamers, they lose a lot of heroes that they lost 4 heroes in that fight, and the only trade-off was the 1 kill on the Winter Wyvern. So a very nice fight for the side of RRQ, and that's what I was talking about. They need to make sure that they pull ahead in every single fight from now on, because otherwise those Midases is going to put CG in a position where they will just outscale them simply. The Shadow Fiend will have that Shadow Blade completed now. The Desolator is going to be almost completed by the Lifesteal. He does not need a long time to complete that. The Centaur is moving straight towards his Acronym Scepter, as despite the 20% reduction in the last few patches, it's still a very nice item to have, you know, for the extra damage, for the cliff walking and whatnot, and obviously for the damage reduction. 40% is still something. For example, when the Axe initiates, you can just reduce that damage by a little amount, and a simple 40 amount of damage reduction from that blink initiation from the Axe should be enough to keep a couple of people alive. Namely, the Lifesteal should have enough tankiness to survive in that situation, sitting on 2.5 HP at the moment. See the items coming out. The Shadow Shaman trying to go for an Aether Lens right now. The CK is trying to go for Silver Edge himself, so he's going to go for the same build as the Shadow Fiend is kind of looking for at the moment. The Axe in the top lane is trying to fall back onto that Vanguard, just go for some tankiness, go for Crimson Guard this game, as it's a decent Crimson Guard game. There's nothing wrong about that. Bombbox in the mid lane might be a little in trouble, tries to survive, Spike Carapace done onto the Centaur, very nicely done there, but that is not going to keep him alive. They don't want to use the Infest Bomb from the lifesteal. They'll just keep him in the Centaur and then try to use it for something else. They'll TP up to the top lane, they'll try to go for play, but it's already too late. Amel has already taken the tower, and he's going to be well on the way out of there. He'll move himself away. The Agonist is complete on the Invoker now. He's almost having his travel boots on top of that, as well as, simply scaling. The Act will pick up his Vanguard as well now, so getting to a point where they have decent items. The Nyx Assassin is trying to bang up gold for his Blink Dagger as well, but obviously being in position for Nyx Assassin means that you don't get that much farm priority, you don't get that many items. Especially when the Shadow Shaman is also trying to build items, he will have his Aetherlands up very, very soon. See? Alright, so reward gets put down right in front of the enemy. That's like Bokurino's probably the saddest kid in the world right now. He just put down his Observer Ward and instantly it's going to be gone. We'll put a little Observer Ward on the high ground here from the side of Clutch Games. They see the lifesteal, so they have a pretty good idea of what's going on. They might even try and take a fight here just because they have the superior vision. There's an Observer Ward from the side of RRQ as well, but it's Clutch Gamers that have a good idea of what's going on right now. Gabi on the sidelines does have that Shadow Blade complete, does have that Shadow Blade available. They see the Infest come out as well with that Observer Ward. They see what's going on in the backlines. They know what's happening. The Centaur is going to be the target. I see them holding the lifesteal. Let's see, they go in. The actual initiates. They go for a jump on the Shadow Fiend. The Shadow Fiend is going to be taken down. Amel might be a little bit in trouble. He'll be picked off as well, as again a 1-for-1 trade-off mid for mid. Twine will be picked off in the meantime in the backlines from Gabi on that Centaur. They're trying to chase for more kills. The Koala Centaur will go for Blink into the trees, just go for TP out straight away. The Rubik in the meantime will steal Vendetta and walk himself out, so like they will not lose any more additional heroes, but losing tier 2 heroes is still going to be a good trade-off for the side of Clutch Gamers. They get the better trade and, well, they defend the tower. Keep the tower alive. They can now go for Roshan as well, as that is going to be a very, very big bonus. If they can get the Roche kill on top of that, I'm sure they're going to be fine with just simply getting one kill. See, now we have RQ moving into position trying to contest this, but the Rubik goes in with that Vendetta that's already sent for a put down, and the Rubik will be killed. They go for the ultimate onto the next assassin. The assassin is going to be killed. Looks like they're a little bit in trouble inside of Clutch Gamers. They go for the Serpent Wall. They go for the Shackles on Kel'Thuzad, but he gets bashed up by Roshan, and the Rubik will at least not give up his life for nothing. They will get the Shadow Shaman, they will get the next assassin, they will stop the Roche attempt from happening, and Clutch Gamers, they will make sure that RQ cannot take Roshan as well, but it looks like that is just going to be a nullified Roshan attempt from both teams, as neither team will be able to go in a position to take this unless they get a big kill on the other side. That Winter Wyvern ultimate is also very scary. Like I said, whenever the Chaos Knight is next to someone, you need to be careful, because that Winter Wyvern ultimate can always screw up the fights in that situation. Desolator complete on the lifesteal now as well, so his damage output is going to be crazy. The Centaur only needs about 1500 more gold for his Acronyms. The Rubik decided to go for an Eels as the first item, so a little bit of mana sustain, not rushing towards the Blink. A little bit curious to see that, but you know, it's not a bad idea necessarily. Bombax will find a jump on the Winter Wyvern in the meantime, just take away the Observer that he put down, as well as find a little solo pick off on that Winter Wyvern, and that's the Sunstrike value. This game, you know, you have a position for Nyx running around getting solo kills because of that Sunstrike being available. Rabbi has completed his Crimson Guard in the meantime, in the top lane moving towards a Shadow Blade next for some more positioning on the axe. The Chaos Knight will have a Silver Edge complete in a moment as well, as I imagine after that. I don't think this is necessarily a BKB game on the CK. It doesn't really... BKB is like an awkward item on him anyways. It's an illusion here, so I would imagine that if anything, he will go for like a heart, just to be as tanky as possible. Mantis Style is also an option. But again, without the illusions being tanky enough, Mantis Style feels odd, because you need them to be able to tank through the Splendor Blast and like a couple of AoE spells, otherwise it's pointless. Do find a 5-man smoke and initiation onto the axe. They find a kill on the axe there on the high ground, and that is going to be the setup to go for Roshan. RQ, they will get one kill, they will get the Aegis on their side, and in the meantime, bottom lane tier 2 tower is going to be pushed down, but I'm not sure they're going to have enough time to actually stop this from happening. In the meantime, Rubik goes in, steals Vendetta again. It's like very, very nice steal. Oh, they actually got the kill on Roshan. Done, I guess Sunstrike? well played by Clutch Gamers. They got the last hit on Roshan, so that's 200 gold going in the pockets of every single player inside of Clutch Gamers because of that last hit. Now Rubik in the bottom lane will be jumped on, will be Vendetta down, and he's going to be taken down. Blink away from Bombax in the meantime. The ultimate comes out from the Winter Wire, keeping him in place. Looks like the next assassin is going to be a little bit in trouble. He will be stunned up, he will be controlled. He tries to go for Spike Carapace in return, but that is not going to be happening. Kalthus pops his rage, make sure he can get that kill without any hassle. So a 1-for-1 exchange in the bottom lane. The Stampede did have to be used there, but it's not really the longest cooldown in the world, so I don't think they mind that too much. The Centaur is finishing his hack and himself in the meantime anyways, and now mid lane they go for blink initiation with the axe that he's set up on the Shadow Fiend. He's taking a lot of damage, he might be a little bit in trouble. He does not have the Silver Edge available, and that is going to be the Aegis popping down. Amel needs to get himself out of here in the meantime. He does have that self-heal sip available. He goes for that Ghost Walk as well. He will walk himself away. He's dusted up though, but he's fast enough. He can get himself out of that. That's fine. The self-heal sip pays off. Lifesteal in the meantime will be jumped on as well. The Phantasm was used by Chaos, not trying to help a little bit in that fight, but that's going to be that. They pop the Aegis, and that's the only trade-off that they get inside of Clutch Gamers, using a lot of their ultimates to try and go for that play. But, you know, that Aegis just got picked up by the side of RRQ, so popping it instantly is still going to be very nicely done from Clutch Gamers, because otherwise you will have to deal with it at some time where they're pushing your towers or something like that. So at least now they know that Shadow Fiend is not going to have an Aegis available. He's still going to be very easy to kill whenever the Axe gets a blink initiation on him, so fine thing. The CK is deciding to go for BKB this game in the end, as he wants to go for that magic immunity just to make sure he can be a little bit safe and sound. Top lane Bombax once again in a position where he might try and make a play on this Rubik. He does have the Vendetta available, and he goes on, and let's see, the Vendetta is going to be available. Sheffer gets Vendetta, gets impaled. Sunstrike comes out on top of him, and he's going to be picked off instantly. Bombax, he just blinks himself away. He doesn't even want to be there for the last little bit of leech experience. He just wants to get the hell out before anything goes wrong, and the Rubik is going to be picked off. I like how Bombax is playing this game. He's been able to set up a lot of kills for his team on that Nyx Assassins 5, 6, and 8. Having a decent game. Sure, he's been picked off a couple of times here and there whenever he goes for those plays, but he's making sure that the Invoker is the most farmed here in the game because of those additional Sunstrike kills for Amel, so he can farm the jungle and still get a lot of kill value in the game. I see 7.5k net worth inside of Clutch Gamers, as the game has kind of slowed down a little bit, and that's where those Midases is starting to make a difference, as the Nyx Assassin with that blink being available is going for the Ghost up the next. The Chaos Knight does have his BKB up very soon, and the Invoker is halfway towards his Archery Core, which is going to be great for him. The Centaur in the meantime picked up a gem, as well as an Akin instead of being completed, so he's going to be a little bit more survivable. The Lifesteal's trying to finish up an Assault Crest next item. About 2,000 more gold before that's going to happen though. The Shadow Fiend very close to finishing his BKB as well, but the Winter Iron very poor, not even close to finishing that Glimmer Cave. And the Rubik is, well, you know, he also had to blink, not that underfarmed, actually more farmed than Nyx Assassin in the end, but that is not going to keep up unless he continues getting kills. The Shadow Shaman also close to finishing his second item. He does have that Aether Lens, and he's moving towards the 4-staff next, so they're going to get some items on the side of Clutch Gamer support, whereas the Winter Iron, he's just a poor man support, 3k net worth, not really having anything too great. Mid lane is going to be pushed out by Armel in the meantime. The T2 tower on the bottom lane did get taken down by the Shadow Fiend, but no, towers is going to be dropping down no matter what, so you can only defend them for so long. The mid tower is going to take a heavy beating here by that catapult. It's a painful catapult. Especially because creeps do a lot more damage to towers now than they used to, because of how the change to the towers work. Less armor, then whenever there's an enemy nearby, they get a lot more armor, so the creeps, they naturally do a lot more damage when they are alone. So you need to be a little bit careful not letting the creeps do too much damage to your towers anymore. That's you know, a small thing you can try to abuse. Top lane, let's see, the Nyx Assassin moves in, puts on a little observer, sees the Winter Wire, they do the Sunstrike available in a second, they go for the Sunstrike, that comes up with the Stampede, is going to give enough space for the Winter Wire to get himself the hell out of there. In the meantime, the Nyx Assassin might be a little in trouble trying to get himself out, but he's not going to be able to survive. He will be picked off. Nyx Assassin gets punished. Nice Stampede from Koala, making sure that Pokerino could survive on the Winter Wire, as well as get that counter kill on the Nyx. So that's where the Stampede and the Centaur run really starts paying off, as the Sunstrike was not quite fast enough to actually get the kill, but I'm not sure if they would have done enough damage either way with that Stampede coming out. Now let's see Amel tries to get himself out. Nice blink initiation into that dust from the Rubik. Trying to control the Invoker. Is going to the other way. He's actually going into the enemy base. As he knows he's going to go for a TP out. He has to go for the TP out to ensure that he survives. He'll go for self-heals maybe, but nope. He will end up dropping down. As that heal scepter from Sheffer pays off. Otherwise he would have been able to get that TP out. And that is going to be the Invoker dropping down. The Shadow Shaman died in the top lane as well. That is 3 dead inside of Clutch Gamers. They might have gotten a tower for that, but that is a lot of dead people on Clutch Gamers all of a sudden. As that is a lot of net worth to the side of RRQ being grabbed. Gap in the bottom lane with that Silvage being available to double damage run as well. He's trying to push out the bottom lane as best as he possibly can. Rubik in the meantime will seal his spell. Go for that Chaos Bolt. That's a very nice stun to have for you. Long duration stun. He's going towards an Arcanum Scepter on Sheffer now. He's had a good game on this Rubik, and as long as he continues setting up for these big kills, he can definitely go for an Arcanum Scepter, not have to worry about whether or not it's worth it, whether or not he will pick it up in time. That is going to be happening. Top lane, the Axe is in position, can go for Blade Mill initiation if he wants to. He's just going to pull away the creep wave, but they will take the T2 town nonetheless. They don't need the creep wave to do that.
Top tower has fallen.
Alright, nice attempt to go for a kill on the Axe there in the mid lane, but forced off from the Shadow Shaman, making sure that he's not going to be in trouble. No trouble there, but let's see. Looks like RQ is still going to be playing in a position where they want to try and find a pick off. And let's see, do they find anything? It looks like they're going to be able to find the Shadow Shaman. He's going to be picked off instantly. That's going to be the Tornado coming up from Armel in the meantime. They hit it onto Koala, draining his mana a little bit. The Shadow Shaman did put down a little Sentry Rod in the meantime, but Koala will take that away with that jump being available. He's moving towards a Shiva's Guard next. Maybe going for a 4-star first, as he does have a Ring of Region available, of course, and he could upgrade that into something, maybe a Pipe as well. A lot of options. The Winter Wine will pick up that Glimmer Cape finally. The Rubik, step by step, moving close towards the second and down the bottom, and he's going to be initiating. The Rubik might be a little in trouble. He will be hit by Sunstrike, but the Stampede keeps him alive. The lift comes out on the next assassin. He's going to be controlled in the meantime. The Stomp comes out from the center. Doesn't actually hit onto the next assassin, but they will get the kill regardless, as that Stampede will keep the Rubik alive again. Jeffrey, he's just playing games with the enemy team at this point. I mean, very, very survivable. Having that null field available, denying some of the damage from the next assassin, and that Stampede on top of the null field just means that he's actually very, very difficult to kill. The effective HP of this Rubik is through the roof. Probably something somewhere around like 2k HP he's having effectively against the next assassin's damage. So it's not an easy hero to kill anymore. Shadow Fiend is moving towards E. Butterfly is the next big item, with that BKB being complete. He still hasn't been forced to use it yet, but he will most likely have to use it very soon. The lifesteal is moving towards a Mjolnir on top of that Assault Cuirass. That is another very big item for the side of RRQ. Falstaff gets picked up by the Centauron as he decides to go for that positioning tool first. The Invoker does have his Doctrine Call completed, moving towards the Shiva's Guard next. The next assassin, you know, Blink, Midas, Ghost Scepter, moving towards the Falstaff, but it's all small items. Maybe something like an Arcanum Scepter would not be a bad idea to go for now, as eventually you're going to be pushed into the high ground. As RQ, they're having a good time right now, and they're finding pickoffs everywhere, and the map Fly Soul is going to be a little bit in trouble. He will be healed up in the air, and he's going to be controlled, stomped, and killed. And the death on the side of Clutch Gamers, as they don't really feel, it doesn't really feel like they have any idea of what they, in terms of like, you know, when to go for 5-man smoke play, when to go for some big play on the map, and it looks like they will go for 4-man smoke now, as they do not want to let Roshan go to the enemy team. They expect that Roshan is going to be up very soon. They go in the mid lane, they go for a jump on the Axe. The Axe will be able to jump the Shadow Fiend in the meantime, but the Cold Embrace came out instantly from the Winter Wyvern. Will keep the Shadow Fiend alive for a little while longer, but he gets popped either way with that dunk from the Axe. He's going to be taking down the Winter Wyvern instead as well. The Lysa is going to be taunted. He's going to be controlled. They might lose him as well. He's going to take so much damage, and he will be dunked by Rabbi. That is 3 dead inside of RQ, as that is so many being killed. Sheffer will get the TP out in time, but either way, 3 heroes being killed on the side of RQ, and just in time for Roshan to respawn in about half a minute. So they might be able to get that, but looks like Clutch Gamers, they're in a position where they want to try and go for a push while the Shadow Fiend and the lifesteal is still going to be dead for 50 seconds. So Clutch Gamers took a very good win, and let's see what they can make out of it, as they need to do some damage to the structures. They need to potentially get a tier 3 tower if they can. The Centaur as well as Rubik will be in position to try and stop that as much as possible. Amel going in, trying to be a little bit annoying, trying to be a little bit sneaky, waiting for his teammates to come into position, as well as the CK and the Nyx Assassin is coming in, trying to give a little bit of helping hand. Schiffer will lift him up, control him a little bit. Yulsita comes out, Amel goes and tries to set up on the Rubik. In the meantime, the Stampede comes out, the Sunstrike comes out as well. Nyx Assassin might be a little bit in trouble. He will be killed, as the stolen dunk from Schiffer will be hit right onto the Nyx Assassin. He's going to be taken down. Centaur, Golden Embrace keeps him alive. In the meantime, the Winter Warden blinked into his death, and Scabby will be able to get that kill. The CK in the meantime is going to drop down very low. The Serpent Walls gets put down. They do not have a buyback on the Shadow Fiend. He's going to be back up in a couple of seconds. The life still in 10 seconds. They do not want to use a buyback, but they will lose a tower. They might even lose a set of racks here, as Scabby, he's not going to be backing off. He's not going to stop. Axe in the meantime goes in for initiation onto Schiffer, almost takes him down, but not quite low enough to actually get a kill on the Shadow Fiend. In the meantime will be controlled as well. Stuck in an ice wall. He's not going to be moving anywhere. Rappy will be killed here. Maybe. No, he goes invisible. He's actually going to survive. Koala does not have any detection available. They tried to use dust, didn't actually catch him, as there's going to be a gem on the ground. I'm not sure where the gem is. The gem is in the base, but he goes for TP out in the trees. He's going to be caught out by Koala as he spots him out, and the axe will be killed. So despite the gem being on the ground, I'm not even sure why the gem was on the ground, but for some reason they thought that defending without the gem being on the hand was going to be a little bit more efficient in case they died on the Centaur. But oh boy, what a huge team fight that to lose on the side of RRQ. They lose a set of fracks, they lose Roshan now as well, and Clutch Gamers, despite having a difficult time the last like 10 minutes being picked off everywhere, now they have shown that they can take a team fight and they can win it, as they're now 15,000 gold ahead. Looking very sharp, looking very good. The Shiva Sky will be completed on the Invoker. The hardest up on the KS Knight, so he's sitting on 4.5k HP, almost impossible to kill in the mid lane. In the meantime, they go for smoke, they go for initiation onto the Invoker. The Invoker might be a little in trouble, will be stunned, will be controlled, and that is going to be the Invoker's Aegis popping down instantly. They might try and go for a kill on him here as well, as they buy back the axe. They try to keep Amel alive. He goes invisible, needs to get himself out of there. He does have the selfies available, will be able to dodge out the Shadow Fiends. The Shadow Fiends attempt to kill him again. Amel surviving 70 HP. In the meantime, in the backlines, the CK is going to work, trying to do as much damage as possible, but he ends up dropping down as Scabby will be killed by Pokerino. Very nice use of his ultimate there. That Winter's Curse does so much damage. Jesus. Winter's Curse, boys. Winter's Curse. That's probably the saddest thing in the world. You lose the Aegis, you lose the Phantasms, you lose the CK because he pretty much kills himself. And now let's see, the Centaur is going to be initiated on nice and pale. Shadow Fiend might be a little bit in trouble. The taunt does not come out in time from the axe, but the Shadow Fiend is going to still be in trouble. The Centaurs are dropping down. The axe goes for taunt, controls the lifesteal for now. He's going to be stuck in the enemy bases. There's no rage available for the next 5 seconds. He's going to be picked off as well as the lifesteal drops on. They go for the Winter Wyvern as well. The Spike Carapace is going to be stunning him up for now. Bocarino will be killed with the Vendetta Strike, and that is going to be RQ on the run out of there. Tornado available in 1 second, not in time to get that. That would have been a beautiful tornado otherwise, but he didn't have enough time to use it properly. So that is the end of that. 3 dead on the side of RQ though. The CK will respawn in 20 seconds. They're going for a push again. As the T2s on the bottom lane will be taken down easily, as you might as well get whatever you can find on the map. The lifesteal still dead for the next 60 seconds and 40 seconds on the Centaur, so they should try and make a push on the high ground again in the bottom lane. Amel is going to be pushing in. The CK can buy travel boots if he needs to go in and join his teammates. And he might just do that. No, he will just TP to the shrine and move in slowly. The axe in the meantime goes for a jump in on the Shadow Fiend. The Shadow Fiend might be able to control, pops his BKB, goes invisible, tries to survive that butterfly, keeping him alive for now. In the meantime, the Serpent Walls comes out. The Rubik is going to be controlled. That Shackle keeping him. Ooh, nice taunt. Actually surviving for now. Buyback comes up for the lifesteal in the meantime. Ghost comes out from the Nyx Assassin, trying to keep himself alive. And the Rubik will survive. Buyback was forced out though, so Clutch Gamers, they came and they got what they wanted. They wanted that buyback from the lifesteal at the very least, making sure that they get a call buyback on the Shadow Fiend or the lifesteal. That's the kind of trade-off you're looking for in that situation. There's no Aegis on the side of Clutch Gamers, so now they just back up. They take the shrine in the bottom lane. They've already taken the one in the top lane. They found the enemy woods, and then they back themselves up. The Lincoln Sphere is going to be completed by the Invoker in the meantime, as he only needs about 1,000 more gold. The Nyx Assassin does have that 4 stuff completed, and he is sitting on 2,000 gold on top of that. The axe in the meantime BKB will be up very, very shortly. Needs about 300 more gold before that's completed. CK is moving towards the Lincoln Sphere as well, as he does not want to deal with that goddamn Winter Wyvern ultimate. It is a very painful ultimate, and you do not want to be hit by it. The Shadow Shaman in the meantime, go for the Acronym Scepter, needs about 1500 more gold for that. The Rubik does have his own Acronym Scepter completed. The Lifesteal, still trying to go for that Mjolnir, but it's going to be a very uphill battle trying to finish that at the moment. The Shadow Fiend does have that Butterfly complete halfway towards his Satanic as well, as he's trying to tank up as much as possible, so he survive enough to not, you know, he does a lot of damage, but his survivability against the axe is kind of mediocre at the moment. Winter Wyvern is trying to go for Force Staff positioning tool. Maybe a Blink would be a little bit more efficient on the Winter Wyvern, but the Force Staff is like always good, and the Blink is only situational in case you just want to be able to go in and get those big ultimates off. The Centaur still moving towards the Shiva's Guard as well, so we'll see if Clutch Gamers is going to continue being this far ahead. 20,000 net worth lead at the moment, as looking like a very tough battle for the side of RRQ. They go for smoke now on the side of Clutch Gamers. They try to take a fight. They are stacked outside of RRQ. Let's see, can they go for that axe initiation? Can they get that buff? They go in. They get the initiation off. They go for the taunt. They hit the taunt onto the Winter Wyvern. The Winter Wyvern is going to be taken down. Gabi pops his Phantasm, so he's going to be able to take this fight. He wants to fight them, and he's going to be focusing them down. The APU is going to be getting the kill on the Shadow Shaman, but he will be killed right after the BKB ends. As now on the back lines, two-man song comes out from the axe. He gets the control on the Lifesteal. The Lifesteal gets taken down. The Rubik drops down as well. 4 dead inside of RRQ, as that should be the GG. Well played, coming out momentarily as CG they'll move into the enemy base. There's a buyback available in Shadow Fiend, but there's only one buyback available, 2 versus the wall, as no Stampede. The Shadow Fiend does not have a lot of souls available. I'm not sure how you can take this fight, but they will try to, and at least make sure that they can take one more like small final hold, and then see if that is going to be enough to push back CG. But the thing is, Gabi, 5k HP CK, how can you kill him? Like, how in the world are you going to be able to do enough damage to bring this guy down? Alright, the bottom side of Rax gets taken down. In the meantime, the top side of Rax is going to be worked at, as Clutch Gamers, they're going for the safe place. They're not trying to end directly. They just want to take mega creeps, and then they're going to be in a position where it's impossible to not win. So we'll see what happens. Tornado gets shot out, hits onto the Centaur, and controls him. Sunstrike comes out as well. He's going to be Spike Carapace up. He's going to be control for now. Impale comes out as well. Centaur is going to take a lot of time, so the Winter Wyvern is going to be taken down. The Centaur will be killed as well. 2 people dead on the side of RRQ. They buy back the Centaur, but GG gets called, as that is the end. They will lose the game. This is game 1 going to the side of RRQ, or well, going to the side of Clutch Gamers, if I can say the names correctly. Alright guys, good game 1, good game 1. Very intense game, 31 for 31 in the end is the kill score, so definitely some intense kill action this game. But Clutch Gamers, they pulled themselves ahead, and again, falling back onto that triple Midas in the early game. That's what it's all about.